CR, appreciate you coming in and giving your speech about sustainable fuel and everything you guys are working on. And just have a couple of questions for you around sustainable fuel and SAF and what is Avfuel's projections and what are you guys looking at between now and the next 10 years? What does that look like?
Yeah, no, thanks, George. I mean, it's growing really rapidly. I mean, we're starting obviously from a very small base. I mean, SAF is still a boutique niche product, but we are, every year we're seeing right now about 3x growth rate year over year in terms of the volume we're supplying. And so some communities, some airports, they're in the thick of it already, and others maybe on the periphery, but in 5 or 10 years, I think it's going to be very, very widespread. And our goal is to continue to grow our supply there, to be a leader in that space. We're Neste's branded distributor for the United States. We supply a few dozen airports already today. And we think that's just going to grow, especially with some new supply partnerships we have opening up more on the East Coast coming up soon, which will be the first company to take fuel from a very large producer of SAF that should be announced pretty soon. So,
great. So you see it more on the West Coast being more mature in this?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the West Coast, I mean, just because of, regulation, the political environment in California, it's on everybody's mind there. And so it's been a great place to really start building that industry and to get, FBOs and flight departments used to what SAF is and how you transact, how you take deliveries, which really it's the same fuel. It's Jet A at the end of the day, right? But it's been a great place to get it started, but, it's going to really spread out from there.
Great. So shifting gears here to like eVTOLs and the electric, air vehicles. What's Avfuel's plan on how to, or the infrastructure that has to be put in place to be able to handle all of this and using maybe current FBOs, current other locations to be able to, create little mini ports everywhere. I mean, that infrastructure is robust. I mean, and it's not just an airport; it could be anywhere.
Right.
What's the idea? What's the plan? What's the vision behind that?
Yeah, the vision there is really to, I think, be a bridge between all the different companies that are developing eVTOL vehicles, charging stations, and infrastructure for eVTOLs, and a bridge between that and the airports and the FBOs. And what I mean by that is helping our branded FBOs and the airports we work with figure out exactly what you just said, George, how to build that infrastructure, how they can finance that, how they can develop the electricity infrastructure that they need, electrical infrastructure for that, how they can, find a revenue model that can be based on electric vehicles, right? So we already have a number of FBOs in the Avfuel network that have charging stations installed. I mean, it's a small number, but we're expecting that to grow, especially in the kind of urban areas where, as you said, it can really provide a nice kind of hub and spoke model for some of these FBO operators to kind of think a little bit outside the box and expand into the metro area.
When do you think you're going to see all of that really come to fruition, where you're going to see, like, you're going to look up and you're always going to see some type of eVTOL flying by? When do you think that's going to happen?
I think that, look, we're starting to see the very first flights now. I think that, before this becomes like a real like ubiquitous thing, I think we're probably still, I would say, 10 years away from that. But I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 5 years in certain targeted areas, right? Manhattan, Southern California, et cetera, you start to see, around the world, for example, Dubai and some other, countries in the Gulf are looking at this. So I think you're going to see very specific targeted areas where this becomes more of a reality in the next 5 years. But I think it'll be more like 10 years until you see it kind of a little more broadly.
CR, I appreciate you coming in, and I look forward to our partnership and working together and between X1 and Avfuel. And I wanted to ask you, why choose X1?
Yeah, no, thanks, George. I appreciate that. I mean, X1 it's an amazing piece of software. We have a lot of customers in our Avfuel network that already use your software, and we have many others that are looking at adopting it, and we think it's you guys are really forward looking in terms of trying to understand the market, understand what the pilots, the flight departments, the dispatchers, the FBO operators, what they all want, how they want to use it, and we see a lot of opportunities for integration with our systems, and so it's important for us to have a strong partnership with X1.
Great. And what are some of the key features that you see that isn't there today that you really would like to capitalize on? The relationship between the FBO and Avfuel. Like, how do you see X1 being that tool?
Yeah. I mean, I think that the more we can get really, really smooth and seamless integration for, our Avfuel card programs, our fuel releases, our loyalty programs, right? All of those, and having that flow seamlessly at the front counter through the software. I think just more data exchange between, the pilots, the FBO, Avfuel, back and forth. I think looking ahead to offsetting carbon credits and SAF. I think all those are aspects that we see as opportunities for integration and development, with the Avfuel X1 partnership.
So, CR, one of the things that we're working on with Avfuel is making it the connection between the FBO and Avfuel seamless. Providing the card opportunity for when the FBO customers at the FBO and don't have a card, now they can easily find that card within the X1 system without having to go into the Avfuel system.
Right.
So it's all integrated in there. Another key feature is that we're working on is the ability to be able to have fuel releases automatically populate inside of X1.
Yep.
Knowing that not only is we're getting the fuel release, but it's also creating a request in X1 and already associating that payment method in X1 as this is how it's going to be paid by default.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that's really the goal. If we think about kind of how Avfuel's looking to work with X1 is exactly what you're describing, where, if you're a flight department operator, you come into an Avfuel branded FBO and they have X1, it's like everything is just smooth. It's automatic, right? All your information, if you're an Avfuel customer, which, most flight departments are, and they're part of the Avfuel contract fuel program, they're part of AvTrip, they're part of whatever of our programs, that whole integration is just there, right? I mean, the airplane arrives, like you said, the fuel release is there. They don't have to dig up a card. The front counter, the CSRs can make the experience for that flight crew very quick, very seamless. There's not kind of a whole discussion that goes on at the front counter of how the payment's going to work and what all the details are. It's just, it's just right there. It just flows. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
One of the things that we're instituting is we have an X1 portal that now the customers itself will be able to send fuel orders. They'll be able to see their invoices. They'll be able to pay with Avfuel in the portal, without even having to be at the FBO. So, today you get a flight department calling, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later saying, hey, I need my fuel ticket. Now they have access to it in the portal.
Right.
They can actually see it and not have to call the FBO.
Yeah. So again, it's another savings of extra effort and just making the process that much easier for everyone. So.
Yeah. CR, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for coming and answering the questions. And thank you. I'm honored for you to be here and be able to present and be here with us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Appreciate it, George. Thanks.